This is Graham from Doteasy. We're coming to you with another video. This one is also going to be part of our WordPress series. But this one here is going to be very similar to our other videos we've done in site creation with a little tweak to this one. We're actually not going to show you a finished site because we don't have one. What we're going to be doing in this case is we're going to be going start to finish through the whole site with you guys. We're going to be showing you kind of the whole thought process, where to start, what to do. And it should give you guys a better idea of how to use WordPress in general as a whole, as well as if you want to deviate and use your own theme or own plugins. This will make it a lot easier to do so. We are going to be showing you the whole start to finish of creating the site though, so you're definitely more than welcome to follow along. This one we're going to be focusing more on actual services based, whereas our other ones we've done like for business based websites, we've been doing one for photography for wedding. This one is going to be more of one based around services. We're going to be showing you how to set up a booking system on here so that you can show people when your availability is, if you have anything like a seminar that they can join in, when they can book your services, things like that. So we're going to be showing you how to set that up on your site and use that. We're also going to be using a contact form in this one, so it's going to be more focused around that type of an industry. We're going to be using as an example just a flooring company that does mainly hardwood floors, things like that. So this is going to be the example we're going to be showing you, but of course you can certainly take what we're doing and apply it to really anything in a similar style of trades or similar style of site. You can even do something completely unrelated if you want. I mean, that's one of the nice things about WordPress and websites, is you can take what we show you and use it to focus on and feature towards whatever you're choosing to do. So we're going to be starting here by installing WordPress. Now you can do this, of course, if you're not sure how to get here or where to start off with. We do have guides on our support site, which is wordpress.doteasy.com. We're going to be going from actually just the soft tack list. We're going to be starting here with the installation. So we're going to be going to install. You may have already installed it, in which case you don't need to worry about this. You can wait until we're done. So we need to start off by making sure the choose protocol is just set to HTTP. The choose domain we're going to leave as this domain. If you're doing this for an add-on domain, you need to make sure to select it from the list. Otherwise, you can just leave it where it is. The in directory will default say WP. We're going to actually leave this blank. We don't want it to say WP. What this means is that if we have it say sample domain.net and we type it in, it's going to show a WordPress site. If we left WP in there, we'd have to actually go to sampledomain.net/WP to see the site. So do keep that in mind if you want to have it as an individual site or whether you want to have it associated in here as well. So where it says database name, you can leave it as the default random generated one it creates, or you can set it up to something more specific. If you have more than one database, we would highly suggest to rename this to something more specific like WP sample or WP domain, something like that. Something with the domain name in it so you know which one is which one. For the table prefix, this one you want to leave as the randomly generated one. It's better for security purposes, but it's also a good idea just because unless you're manually managing the database yourself, there's no real reason to ever go in here and change it. For the site name and description, you're more than welcome to change it. We're actually going to be leaving this blank here. You can actually change this in WordPress later on, which is where we're going to be doing it. And because we're just trying to get the main install done, we're going to be leaving it where it is. You don't need to enable the multi-sites for what we're doing. You definitely can do it. There aren't that many uses for multi-site. It allows you to set up a whole bunch of sites very quickly, by meaning you only need to install like a theme once, a plugin once, and then you can enable it across all the sites. But we're going to be doing just a single solitary site. For the administrator here, we're going to be using our normal one that we show you as an example. Same with the password. We suggest you never use the term admin. You always want to change it to something else for security reasons. Password, make sure it's as complex as you can possibly get, so that way nobody's going to get in. For the language, you can change this to English or any other language you want. It will default to English or whatever your cPanel language is set to. The admin email, you want to make sure you do put in a legitimate email address here, because this is where the recovery information and notifications from WordPress are going to go. Finally, last but not least, you can set up to email yourself the installation instructions if you want them. So you can just set this up here. And we're going to be leaving this blank because we don't need any of them. When you're ready to go forward, you just want to click install. So installation of WordPress, very simple, very quick. It's already finished as we can see. It's going to give you two URLs which are very, very important. First one here is for the actual site. So if you go here, you're going to see what WordPress looks like. This is just the default WordPress install. If we go to the actual other one, which is the administrator URL, this is the very, very important one. And this is where you can log into the dashboard and make all the changes. So now that we've got those two pages up here, we can close the cPanel down. We don't need it any further. So the main WordPress site that you're going to be going to is this one here, the actual login page to the dashboard. You're probably going to want to actually bookmark this page because you're going to be coming here all the time to make changes. So we need to sign in here with the sign in information we just created. And there we go, we're in. This is the dashboard, and this is where we're going to be making pretty much all the changes. We would suggest you make sure to leave a copy of the page up here. It'll make things a lot simpler when you make a change and you want to view what it looks like. You can always go in here through the dashboard and go to the My Blog section, go to Visit Site, and open it here. You can go to open a new tab or a new window if you want. Otherwise, you can always change between the two by going to the My Blog. Or if the case you're on here, you can always log in as well. So it's an easy way to go ahead and do this here. And if you actually just refresh the site quickly, you'll see it'll actually show that you're logged in here as well on the site. So it says you're logged in, and you can always go back to the dashboard anytime from here. So within the dashboard, you can see right away it's telling us we have an update. That's because in this case here, Askmet has done a recent update, as you can see. So with the fresh installed, there's no problem with doing updating plugins right away. It is important to keep all your plugins and everything up to date, including your WordPress, because this way you can make it more secure. You can sometimes even get additional features. So it's always important to do. Make sure if you're not doing a fresh install that you're doing this later on and you're getting an update or have a plugin. Plugins generally are okay, but theme is very important to make sure back up absolutely everything in your WordPress first of all before you do it, because if you do an update of the theme or if you do an update of WordPress itself, you can very easily find that something else isn't yet suited for that new update and doesn't work properly. So rather than breaking your site and leaving yourself without anything to work with, make sure you back it up first so you can easily reinstall it, set it back up if you need to. Now, if you don't do the backups yourselves or if you're not sure of, we do offer a backup service. It's $1.50 a month on your whatever plan you're on. It creates a whole bunch of backups from all the way to a couple months ago to daily backups for the last week, as well as a couple weeks ago. So you do end up with a whole bunch of backups you can work with, and they're created on a separate server and all managed for you, so you don't even need to worry about the backup process. So very easy to do if you're not wanting to back up things yourself. So now that we've got the dashboard here and we've got everything updated, you're normally going to log in and come to this screen here, which tells you all the important things. So at a glance tells you you've got a post page, you've got comments, things you need to take a look at. Activity tells you what you've recently been doing. Comments tells you who's been recently commenting on what they've been doing. And then getting started tells you kind of where you should be going. So the first thing you need to take a look for is the left-hand menu here. Posts are things you can do that normally scroll down a page, and you can think of this as being more of a blog format for your site. So if you want to do more of a blog format settings, this is where you want to go into. The media section is used for any kind of upload you want to do, whether they're pictures, videos, things like that. You can go in here and you can upload those ready for use. You can of course always go in and upload them at the page or the post, but you can also go in there and manage them at any time. The pages is if you want to have this look more like an actual website. So if you want like a home page and then use the menu to go to like an About Us, contact page, things like that, this is what you're looking for. The comments is purely just to manage your comments and see how they look. This is the way people can comment about your posts or your pages, to input them if you want some kind of input or discussions going on. You can use that to do so. The appearance is more kind of the layout, so how things are going to look. You're going to be going in here for theme, for menu, widgets. Widgets are little things you can add on your site, like extra menus or like things you can show on the top, header, footer, other things. So there's a lot of fun you can do with that. You can customize your background, everything there. Next thing we're going to be going to is the plugins. Plugins are additional programs you can add to your site that run with it. You can get them here. They're like contact form, booking form. You can get picture galleries, many different things. You can get Google Maps even. You can go ahead and get some things for your Twitter, for your Facebook, get them fully integrated in there so people can see what are going on. So these are all things you can go ahead and install on the site and set up. The user section is if you're using it yourself, you don't really ever need to go in here. If you have more than one person looking after the site, you can go in here and create additional users for them or manage what everybody's allowed to do permission-wise. The tools, you'll rarely come in here, so you don't need to worry about it too much. The settings is an important one, as this allows you to change the default settings within WordPress. One of them, especially the permalinks, is very important because here you can go in and you can choose what the actual URL, the website address is going to show as. So if you've got it set as a domain, you don't need to worry about it, but you can always change the way it shows post name, page name. We're going to be covering that definitely later. But this, in a glance here, as what we've explained, is the WordPress dashboard, where you're going to be going in and making changes. Now within the dashboard itself, the very first thing you're going to be needing to do is you're going to need to pick out a theme. Because if you go to the site again, you can see very bland, not much to it, not much to customize, not much to look at. So the very first decision, which is probably going to be the most important decision you're going to decide with WordPress in general, is what theme you want to use. Now there's a couple different places you can go for resources. First one we suggest is our Doteasy help page here. So if you actually go to Doteasy page, you're going to see a whole bunch of different tags, one of them being free WordPress themes. So if you go here, you're going to see a whole bunch of themes you can actually go to and find. We'd suggest if you're taking a look at a theme, it's good to not only take a look at what they show you for the demo, as that'll give you a good idea of what you can set up and make it look like, but also install the actual theme if you think you may like it or may look at it and play around with it. Find out if it is indeed the theme for you. If you don't find one on the Doteasy website that you don't like, that's not a problem. You can also go to WordPress.org directly. They have a theme repository there where you can take a look through their themes and see what they suggest. You could also do Google searches for themes. If you do Google searches though, you're probably going to find a lot more premium themes, so ones you actually have to pay for. These will definitely do a lot more generally. They'll be a lot nicer looking, they'll be more custom made, but again, the price tag is there and they are generally pretty hefty. Now if you're looking for free themes, you can definitely take a look online for free themes. Be very careful with this though. If you don't find a theme on WordPress.org, you don't find a theme on Doteasy, you may end up finding a malicious theme online through Google searches. It means it's one that someone's actually put with something like a virus or something in it. So do be very careful with it, and we would suggest to stick to one of the two if possible, because they are ones that have been approved and they're okay to use. In this case, we're actually going to be using one here, the free WordPress theme Adventurous. We've already taken the time to take a look through the themes we want, so they are definitely something you need to take the time to pick out, and that's why we did this ahead of time, because it does take time. So you can download this from here. You can also go into the actual dashboard, and you can go into the theme section here, and you can add it also from here. And you can take a look based on their filters. So you can even see here's a whole bunch of ones for the WordPress.org site here. And we're going to just take a look and see if it's in here. So we can see it's actually listed. So we can actually go ahead and select it out of here. Otherwise, you can go through the link to download it straight here and do a manual install. In this case here, we can do an install straight from here. We can see it gives you a demo to look at. You click on install. We're going to be going through and doing the manual install just because it's a little harder to do to make sure you guys know how to do it. So you can click on browse, and then you can go to your download section, and you can make sure you've downloaded it. This shows here we've already downloaded the file just because we want to show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to select that one. We're going to click on install now, and it's going to do the rest of it for you. Very simple, very easy to install it if you don't find it in the search list. So you want to make sure that once you've installed it, you activate it. Since we're doing a brand new installation, there's no harm in activating it right away. If you find yourself doing theme updates, so say you've already got a theme on the site, make sure you take a look at everything you've done and you've got a backup first, because if you activate that theme, you may find it's very, very different from the one you already had set up, and it may break the site, especially because you are changing the entire layout. So once you've installed the theme and activated it, very first thing to do is come back to your site and take a look at it. And you can see here, very, very different looking already. It's put a whole bunch of custom images and things up here, custom content. But you can see it's still got the basic page, still got the basic menu, although it's moved it to the right-hand side. But it's still got all of that here. So very nice layout, very nice thing to start with and choose. It is a nice idea to make sure to choose the layout and the theme as close to what you want it to look like, because that means less customization later, saves you a lot of time. So even if you take the more time to pick out the theme and everything you want, at the end of the day, it's definitely going to save you time in the long run. Once you've got the theme selected, next thing you need to look at is the plugins. It's the next important thing, because this works hand in hand with it to find out what I want to set up and what I want to do. So very easy, very important to do. So we're going to be going ahead and going to this here next. So we're just going to be going to the default WordPress.doteasy.com help page. We're going to be going to the free WordPress plugins here. And you can see we've also got a whole bunch of plugins here. So very easy to find them, very easy to do. If you want, you can also go to WordPress.org and find the plugins in there. There's generally very few plugins you're going to want to use that are not included with both of them. So this one's probably not one you're going to want to search online for. It's a good idea to go to the WordPress.org site and check out the developers site, just because you'll be able to see what kind of support lies in the plugin, how many people have used it, how many people recommend it. you can go to the plugins here and you can check out what you've installed. You can go to add new. You can also do the searches based on here. So we already know what two we're going to be installing here. So we're going to be first of all going to the contact form 7 because we want a specialized contact form set up. This is one that makes it very easy to use. You can see it's got a 5-star rating. So we're going to be installing that now. And we're then going to activate the plugin right away. Because if we don't activate it, it's not going to work. Second one we're going to be doing here is the booking calendar. We're just going to be typing that in here, and we can see there's one already here. It's always a good idea, again, as we mentioned, to go into the details and take a look at what it is. So you can see here it's got a bunch of information. You can even go to the plugin homepage, which will take you to the WordPress section. So you can take a look at it from here. These are all different things you can take a look at, and you can see kind of this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to take for it. So we're going to be going ahead and we're going to be setting up this one, but we just want to show you kind of what it's going to look like. So we're going to be installing that now. And then we can see it's activated. And then we activate the plugin. And then you can see here now it's gone ahead and actually taken us into it right away. So the first thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be noticing that now there's a couple things on the side. You've now got an extra section here for the contact. You've got an extra thing here for the booking. So it is a good important thing to check out and take a look at right away to see, hey, I've now got all these new options, other new things we can do here. So it is very, very important to make sure you go through and take a look at things. Now, once you've gone ahead and seen these here, next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving you guys actually pause section. It is important to take this time now to, first of all, make sure you've got a theme you want to be using. And next, you want to be making sure that all the plugins and everything you're going to be using are the ones you want. Because this is very time consuming and it's one of the biggest sections of designing a site. Because once you've got that there and you've decided what to use, you've then basically laid in the entire groundwork for what you want to use afterwards. So this will be the pause here. We're going to give you the time to do it. If you're going to be following along with us and doing exactly what we're doing, you're not going to need it. You can just continue forward. For the rest of you guys, just take a moment here to find out what you want to do for the theme and everything, and then you can follow the rest of the video afterwards for it. So welcome back from the pause here. Now we're going to be continuing the video forward. The next section we're going to be showing here is the customization of the theme. Because once you've decided on what themes and plugins and the general layout and everything you want, it's time to start customizing. So before you actually start putting any pages or individual content there, it's generally best to get the theme in at least the home page, kind of the way you want it to look, especially the top sections for it. So we're going to be going here on the side. We're going to be going into the appearance. And you can see here for ours, we now have this option that says theme options, which some of you may notice wasn't there before. This is a customized menu that has to do with our theme. If you chose a different theme than us, you may not have this option or may be called something else. So just do keep that in mind. Otherwise, you can always go into the themes or into customize, and you can find the individual options there, which are more kind of the WordPress default ones. You can even go into the editor to work with kind of raw source code if you want as well. But we're going to be sticking straight to the themes editor because we chose it because it has a lot of options here. It's very easy to work with. You can see a lot of the options here actually give you this disable option as well, so you don't even need to include them if you don't want them. So we're going to be starting off by going through and modifying a whole bunch of themes. The first thing it gives you the option for is favicon. In this case, we're disabling it because we don't really need it per se, because we have a Doteasy one that shows up on Doteasy sites by default. The favicon icon is the icon that shows in the top left corner. So if we just go to our support page here, just as an example, you can see this little icon here in the tab window. That's the favicon. So if you have an icon you want to show up there, you can upload it here by easily changing this. Very simple. You can see there's a preview one of if you want to show it, or you can just outright disable it. Make sure whatever changes here you make, click the Save Changes under this section so it saves it, and then you can move on to the next section. Make sure you always do get in that habit of saving whatever you've done on that area before proceeding to the next one. Next thing it's talking about here is a web clip icon. Now this is actually a fairly new thing. You're not going to see this in a lot of themes. A web clip actually refers to an iOS device. Typically is more of where it's being done right now. So if you want to say set this up so that someone can set it as an icon on their Apple device, like on a phone or an iPad or a tablet or anything, this is actually that little icon what's going to appear here. In this case, we're also going to check to disable this because we're not really designing the site in that mind. But if you want to have that there, or if you want to set up your site to have that as well, definitely that's what this feature is for. You can again change the picture there. And this is again the icon, the actual picture that it shows on the tablet menu. So we're going to be making sure to close it down. Next thing you can do is you can go through the menu options. We're actually going to leave this till a later date just because the menus are kind of thing logically we find pulls a little later on, especially after you've created the pages. So we're going to be coming back to this option here. If you've already got an idea of what you want all the pages to be, or you've got the entire menu already outlined, you've drawn the entire thing on paper beforehand, which some developers do, is they'll have everything sketched on paper of what they want the layer to look at. By all means, go for it here. We're going to be coming back to this again later because from our standpoint, it makes more logical sense to start dealing with the menus after you've created the pages, especially if you want to create custom menus. Next thing we're going to deal with here is the header option. Now, the header option is definitely a little more important. This is what's going to show at the top. So right now it's disabled. We're going to be actually going ahead and just saving that here. We're going to be showing you what this looks like. So this means here we've now got a little header icon. So this you can think of as your logo, which is why they've actually phrased it as the logo here. So you can see disable logo or logo URL. So we're actually going to be uploading our own image here. So we're going to go to change logo, and we're going to be uploading it here because we don't have anything set up. We've actually set up an image folder already of a whole bunch of things we want to do here. So you can see we've actually got an image we want to, and we've got that all set up here. So you can choose where you want this to be, whether it's in the desktop or whether it's from the downloads or wherever. But we've already got this set up on our computer where we want. So we just can see here it's going to add a whole bunch of information. So you can actually add a title. We're just going to call this logo. Alternative text here, we're going to call this site logo. And then you can include a caption if you want. We're not going to bother with that, or a description because the name logo is fairly self-explanatory. For other pictures, you're going to watch us probably put in captions or description to make it a little easier here. For this one here, we're just going to leave this as it is. We're going to insert it into the post. And although this isn't a post, inserting the post is kind of WordPress lingo for put it here where we want it to be. And then once we've got that here, we're going to go ahead and click on where it says Save Changes. And then we're going to go back here, and we can see it's now put it in there for us. So now if we go to the actual site, we can reload the site and we can see it's already put in our logo here. So this is one of the reasons we said it's a good idea to make sure you have both windows here, so you can very easily quickly reload the page and see the change between what it was before to what it is with the new change done. So you can very easily see your change that evolve. Additionally, if you're not sure whether you want something there or if you're guessing and testing, a good way of doing it is that same thing. Enable it, set it up with whatever picture you want, put it there. If it's a text-based option, you're not sure what it is, just write in the word test, save it, go check out what it does. A very good way of easily testing what it is. And when you're approaching something you never used before, it's one of the best ways to do it. Next thing you can do is you can set up a featured image option. So a featured image is one that basically appears across just the home page. It'll show up here in the top. You can set up all the different things. This one here is actually a slider, so it's not the featured image. In this case, they don't come with the default one. But if you want to put a image you want at the top, you can definitely do so. We're not going to put one here just because it doesn't make really sense with the site we're going to be developing. You can definitely put it one if you have, like, say, very particular image that is associated with your site, or one you want on every page, or even just the home page. This is where you can do it. And you can set it up here. In this case, we're just going to disable it because we don't need it here. So we can click Save Changes and just quickly load the page, and we can see it there. And next thing we can go here is, you can see we've done the header image. The next thing is content featured image. We're also going to go ahead and disable this as well because we don't need it for what we're going to be doing. We are definitely going to be doing some featured content, but we're going to be using a specialized section of it, so we're just going to disable it for now. And then we're going to be going down to the promotion options here. So the promotion you can see here is actually if you want to have something here, you can see this is the promotion. It gives you a little special section here. You can also do this as well. It's got a whole bunch of different content. This is things you want to show up. So we're going to actually just be disabling it because we don't want any promotions right now. Of course, this is a very good feature if you want to enable a promotion. Say you have a sale on the site or anything. Perfect place to do it. You can say we're having 25% off sale, or maybe you can use this code to get extra off when you're doing a purchase, or you can say like we now have open bookings for everything in our booking calendar. So it's a very important thing to make sure to do and take advantage of. We're going to be just leaving it off for right now because we're trying to do just a default site by itself. I'm going to make sure to save that setting. The home page settings is you can choose what settings, what's going to be here, what's the main page. So if we click on this, it's going to take us in here and ask us what we want for the front page and post page. So we can see here if we select like static pages, we can pick our sample page, and we can pick like another page for the posts. So right now, we're going to be definitely coming back to this option a little later on. We don't need it per se right now because we don't have any pages set up. So logically, it makes more sense to handle this one a little later on. Next one is the layout options. This is the basic layout for the site. So right now we can see the right sidebar is selected. This means we've got the top section, we've then got the content, the actual written portion on the left hand side, and we've got the menu going down the right. So you can choose which one of these you want here. We're going to stick it on the right just because we tend to like the right hand side a little more. It tends to be a little more eye-catching. A lot of people do have it on the left as well, but it's up to you. So we're just going to leave that as it is because it's already set up the way we want. Next thing here is the search text. So you can type in some default search if you want. We're just going to leave it there. This is the search as it appears on the site. The excerpt or more tags, we're going to leave this here. We're not touching the tags. You can definitely customize this if you want, but it goes a little above and beyond what we're trying to show you guys here. The custom CSS also falls into that category. If you enjoy working with the source code and you want to make something look absolutely fantastic by adding your own custom CSS, this box is here to do it. If you don't like working with it or it seems a little above and beyond, leave it alone. You don't need it. It's okay, not to worry. You can then go into the featured content. So this is something you can set up on the site that will appear here. There's actually no featured content on here right now, but you can see it's going to kind of appear in this section. So we can go ahead and set up whatever we want. You can set it up so the featured content is just on the home page or the entire site. For this one here, we're going to be leaving it on the home page just because it makes a little more sense to do it on the home page. So for this here, you can do it different ways. You can tell it what you want to show up here, a headline, context, things here. You can also tell it what you want to do here. So the one thing we have in mind when we're going to be adding this here is we're going to be adding this with content to the site, so actual pages. So if we want, we can add images, which we're actually going to be doing here. So we can select the file here. And we're just going to be starting to adding a couple here. So we can see we're just going to add a couple pictures at random. And you can use the pictures either the ones you want to have finished, or you can go ahead and you can add them as the ones you want to have as the final products. So we're just going to leave this one in here. You can make any changes to it if you want it to be bigger or smaller, if you want it to be centered or put somewhere else. So we're going to be putting this as hardwood. And then we're just going to be calling this hardwood floor. Caption, we're going to be putting in picture of hardwood floor. And this is a picture of hardwood flooring. So this just gives a little more if someone wants to actually click on the picture, or if, for instance, they don't have any kind of a visual aid on there and they can't load the page for whatever. It'll give them a little more information to it in the form of text, which is always a nice thing to do. So what you can do is you can also add a link URL, which we're going to be setting up here and actually doing this later on when we have the pages. We're just kind of setting up pictures to show you kind of what it's going to look out layout wise. So that way we can kind of start to visualize how we want it to lay out and show. You can also do a title for it as well. In this case, we're going to be adding the title later once we've added the pages. And then the content, you can also add that as well. So we're going to be just leaving this kind of here as a default so you can see what it looks like, because we are going to be adding this at a little bit of a later date here once we set up the pages. But we want you to already see what it looks like. So you can see here it's got something that shows under the slider and it is clickable. So right now it just goes back to the default page. But afterwards, we're going to be actually showing you how this gets to a page. And you see the menu we've chosen here actually stays at the top and it moves around. So that nice little dynamic thing is also a bit eye-catching, which is why we've chosen this theme as well. So you can also see the previous featured content images are all gone. So which is nice. If we go to the sample page, you'll see the content isn't there. and so it doesn't set up like that. Okay, and now that we got that there, we can go back in here. We're going to be going to the slider. Now, slider is something we're going to be adding a little later on here. We're going to be doing some settings here so it works automatically for you, so you don't even have to worry about it. So we're going to be going to a category slider. This is one of the easiest and most friendly things to set up, because as you add pictures, you can add them to categories. As you add posts and content, you can also add them to categories so that they have specific things you should be doing. I'm going to be setting that here. Number of slides you can choose, how many things it's going to be rotating through. We're just going to leave it to the default one here. You can check out which one you wanted to do. We're going to leave it as just the default settings for now. We're going to save that. You're more than welcome to play around with it later, but we're more just setting the groundworks for everything in the theme. So you can go in here and you can select the categories. So right now there's no categories but the uncategorized. So later on when we actually create a category, it's going to be coming in here and doing it. Now another thing you can set up here if you have them is all the different social links. So if you want this link to your Facebook, if you want this link to your Twitter, Google Plus and everything, this is the place where you can go ahead and do it. So you can go through and add these all in here and it'll have them all here. So make sure when you do any of the changes here that you can go through and set them up. Now next thing here you may want to go through and do, now that we've kind of done a default section with here, is you may want to start handling the plugins. Because again, the layout and all the things are very important. This way, once we've got the definitive kind of layout of what we want to do and we played around with it a bit, and we've got the plugin set up, we know what we're going to do for the pages. So the next thing we cover is the plugin. We'll be starting with the contact form just because it's actually quite easy to set up. So we've got the contact form here. We can go ahead and click on where it says edit. And you can see here you've got the form, what it's going to look like, and you can also create more content to it. So you can see here right now it just asks a couple of general questions like your name, your email, your subject, your message, and then it's got a send button. So you can see here also near the bottom it's going to show you what the actual email that gets sent off to you it is. So you can say who it's going to, the from, you, and your email you want to leave that where it is, the subject you want to leave there as well. You can put in additional header information you want there. If you want to attach a file, you can do that as well. And then you can see on the message body, this is what it's going to come in and show you as. So it's from here, the subject's here, message body's here, things like that. So you can see name, email address. In this case here, we're going to be generating a couple other ones. You can see there's a couple of ones already in here. Next one we're going to be doing is actually telephone number. So you can see, is it required field? Means does someone have to enter this before they're allowed to connect it? When you click yes, the telephone number, you can put in anything you want. This is just more of a name of the field. So we're just going to call this phone number, or just actually phone for simpler. ID you can put in there if you want it to specialize. These are more things if you want it to have specific restrictions to it. The ID in class is only really applicable if you're going to do some custom CSS. Otherwise you don't have to worry about it. The size and max length is more if you wanted to have it so only certain content can be added. Since you may have people from just your neck of the woods, you may want to customize it to generally like a 10-digit format. You can put in anything you want. If you want to have a default value in there, you can put it in there as well. And then you can use this text as placeholder, meaning it'll be stored there. We generally suggest not to use that because that way spammers or anyone else trying to just get a quick form off are actually forced to enter their information. So then once you've got that done, you can go ahead and put this here. You want to copy this and put it wherever you want on the side here. So we're going to go your name, and then we're going to go your email, and then we're going to go your phone number. So you can just click put it here, leave a space. You can actually just, rather than typing it out again, just quickly copy and paste what was there before. And then we can go ahead and just quickly add in the rest of it here. I'm just going to quickly fill in the tag here. And then you can type in whatever you want. So your phone number, and it says required, and it's got this here. So as you can see here, it very quickly and easily looks like the rest of them. You're just pretty much copying the same similar format and just changing the text here of what you want, and then make sure you add in the tag of what it shows there. Very easy to add a whole bunch of extra content. And then the one other thing you want to make sure of, if you want it included in the email, you need to make sure to include this here. So you can go ahead and message body, you can put in your message, or you can put it in here as well. So we're going to go ahead and put in there. So we'll put in phone, and then your phone. So there you go. So it shows very quickly and easily how you want to set this up. Now, what you want to do is you can set up additional mail or additional messages here. These are things like if someone doesn't do something properly, so if there's a validation error, they didn't fill in a form or anything. So we're going to leave these just to the default ones because the default ones are pretty descriptive as it is. You shouldn't need to modify them too much. It is important whenever you make any changes to make sure to go ahead and click Save. That way it actually saves what you're doing. Now this here is very, very important, so you want to make sure to take a copy of it. You can do one of two things. You can either just come back to it later and grab it, or you can drop it in a notepad. I tend to more like to grab things just ahead of time and drop them in a notepad so I have them when they come back later on. So you can always easily come back and grab this. So I'm just going to leave this in a notepad, but again, you can always come back to the context section if you want, and you can grab it right out of here. Very simple, very easy to do. Now that we've got that plugin done, we're going to be going to the booking section next. So the booking section here, this is where we can create an actual plugin. You can see it's already got one here, just in a random event it creates to start with. And that's why it's actually got one set up already. So you can see there's different actions. You can approve or reject it. So we can see this one's already set up here, not a problem. And you can choose between whether you're looking at the calendar or whether you're looking how you're looking at it. So we can easily see, okay, we've got one here. We're just actually going to start off by, of course, deleting this one because we don't need it here. It's just a default. So we can go ahead and we can reject it or we can delete it. We're going to actually delete it off here. And we need to make sure to save it, delete it, and bang, our booking's gone. And now that's taken care of. So now we can also go into an add a booking if we want to modify the booking. You can see the little number 1 there has disappeared. That shows us that there's no current bookings here. So you can pick out how you want to do the booking. So where you want it to be, how you want it to be done, and who you want it to be done by. You can also go into the settings and start modifying a whole bunch of freedom of information as well. And so if you want, you can click on anything here. So you can see there's a whole bunch of different content and time to how you want this to appear. And there's a whole bunch of content here. And you can even go into the fields and completely customize them yourself, like first name, last name, email, phone number, details, what you want to do. You can add a brand new one altogether. So you don't always go through and do this. You can tell whether it's required or not. And pretty much all of these are the way we want it. We're going to leave them all here. We're just going to make them so they're all required. And then we're going to make sure to save changes. You can always go ahead and you can always label these however you want as well. And then we can see there's no new bookings, there's no new anything here. So show and hide hints is always generally a good one to do, just so it helps show things, meaning like how many things are on there, if someone put it on a new booking, things like that. You can go ahead and do a whole bunch of advanced JavaScript settings if you want them. You can also go through and do some other ones here as well, but we're going to leave those just the way they are. They're kind of above and beyond, but if you do like to go through and completely customize it yourself, you're more than welcome to go through and do it as well. So for the calendar, you can change kind of what you want for it to look like. We're going to leave it just as a traditional one in this case, but you can customize it how you want to look. For the number of months here, for 1 year, generally a good one is a good way of doing it. Start day, you can choose what start day you want. We're going to leave this as Sunday, good day to start it. Unavailable days of the week, you can actually say what it is here. So from today, how many days are currently not available. So unavailable weekdays, this is important if you don't work certain days or if you don't want to deal with certain days. So for instance, let's say we're not going to work weekends. So let's do Sunday and Saturday. Now type up here, you can select whether it's a single day or multiple day. We're going to leave it on multiple days so people can select which days they want to do it from. CAPTCHA, definitely make sure to enable this because otherwise you're going to find yourself getting spammed left and right. So always, always important. The autofill fields, these ones we generally like to leave unchecked just because people, it's definitely helpful to have it repeat, but it's better to leave this up to their browser in their own personal settings. CSS Bootstrap, we're going to leave that where it is. The show legend on the calendar is a good helpful thing as well, so you can show like available when, pending item, and how this works. So you can do that here. The actions after it's booked, you can say a thank you message. Very good way to do it. You can also redirect them to a page if you want. In this case, we're just going to show a thank you message. We don't need it. And then you can leave however you want to show it as the actual message. Leave that in there. You're more than welcome to choose and customize that as you want as well. The listings of the bookings, you can go through and choose which is your default one here. Generally, the calendar overview is a little better, but you can always go to the book listing depending on how you want. Calendar default view, you can choose kind of how many things you show by default. Default toolbar, we're going to leave this as it is as well. Booking numbers per page, we're also going to leave this. You can definitely go ahead if you want a lot. It's generally better to leave a smaller amount just so it doesn't flood it too much. The booking order is kind of, you can do it by how you want. Ascending ID mean basically first one that's entered into your system will always do it, but you can definitely change it how you want. You can go up by dates as well, which is a good way of doing it. We're just going to leave it as ID. Date format is how you want it to show there. Now, certain date formats are changed depending on how they are in the world. So you definitely can change this to make something applicable to you, or you can leave it as something just kind of more generic. But it is, again, up to you. You can also set up like a custom one if you want as well here. So date view, you can do how you want that. So we're just going to click save days here. So make sure to save our settings. There are some options along here on the side which you can do by like plugin permissions of who can go ahead and make changes to this. So if you do have a lot of users going through and making changes, you can select who can do what and what they can do. So you can also do uninstall deactivation, so just leaving this out here, and a reindex of the booking. Don't even worry about it whatsoever. So now that we've got all the settings that we want, we can start adding bookings. So we can see here that the available days are in gray here. It says the available ones are here, the booked ones are in that color, and the pending ones are this one. So this is very similar to how people are going to be viewing it as well. So if you want to set up a book, you just simply need to select a day, or you can select up multiple days. So it's up to you, and you can go ahead and do it just kind of on a click day. You can even just individually do it. So it is up to you kind of how you want to do it. And you can select which days you want this to apply to. So in this case here, we're just going to set up a quick couple demo ones just to show you. So you can say the first name here is, we can say this is, let's say, John Doe. And emails John, let's just do the stuff. Just a demo one, just an address that doesn't really be there, and then we can set up default phone number. There we go. And then the details, this is a test booking. And then you can see here, and there we go. And then we can go ahead and do that. We can see here it's now set up a default booking here, and now it's set up for those 2 days. So we can see right now they're currently pending because it's been added in. And then we can go through and we can actually go into the booking section and we can allow that there. So anytime anything comes in here, it's going to be coming into that pending phase. So we can go ahead and just simply click on this one. We can go to approved. And now it's actually been booked. So you need to make sure to check mark it. There we go, approved. We can now see it's been booked. It's no longer there. You can also go ahead and just click on this little icon here and you can also approve it. So now if we go back to the add booking, you can see it's now changed here. So these ones here have now been shown as booked. You can always go in and modify it yourself, but other people of course can't. So you can go in and very quickly do this. So it'll show available, pending, or this. So very easy to set up and do. And that allows you to very easily create the booking section of here. So now that we've got that set up here, next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through and starting to set up the pages. Now, before we go through and set up the pages, we're going to give you another little break again, just so you can go through and customize the contact form and the booking content however you want, so you can easily get it set up and show however you want. There is a lot of customization to it, so you can easily go ahead and do that. So we're going to again give you a pause so you can get that done. All right, we're back from the pause, and we're going to be showing you how to start creating the pages next. Because now that we've got the actual plugin set up so that they can be easily entered into our pages, the other thing we need to go through and do is actually create those pages. The pages are the basic content and the bread and butter of your site. They're going to be where all your information is portrayed and where all your text and pictures are probably going to be going. So they are going to be what we're going to be setting up next. They generally fall into around the middle ground or towards the end of the site creation, because that's when, once you start putting those together, you've got the majority of the site finished after you've got all the layout and everything done. So we're going to start covering that now and showing you how to do that. Now, if you don't have the text or anything already typed up, some people may have, or you may have been given what you need to put on the site from a company if you're doing it for someone else. We've already gone ahead and typed up what we want to have just so we have everything laid out for us already, because it's generally easier to build a site or to envision what you want to have in mind once you've got everything already typed out and set up for what you want to do. So we're going to be going to pages here, and then we're going to be adding the new page. If you're setting this up under a theme that focuses more on posts, you're going to go to the post section instead, but they're pretty much the same between the two of them. I'm going to be going into a little document here that we've got everything typed up on. We're going to be going and copying that. We're going to be putting all the text into here. And we just want to make sure it's got everything here. There we go. And then we're just going to go ahead and set this up as the list. And this you may need to customize depending on how you set it up, because again, things do not always go across between the two as they should. There we go. And you can see very easy to go through with the default WordPress options here to get it to look pretty much the same as what we had it before and typed it up. So you want to make sure you've got the content in here however you want it, and then make sure you've got the name for the page however you want it. We're calling this home because this is going to be our default page, but you're more than welcome to call it, of course, anything. You can also set up a page order. So because this is the first page, we're going to be ordering it as 0. You can set up a specific featured image if you want. So you're saying, this is the main page, this is where it is. So you can go through and do it here. We're going to be pretty much adding a whole bunch of images from this point on. So let's see, go ahead and add any picture you want. Let's go ahead and add just this one here. And so we're going to be calling this one here home page, or just home image. Home image, alternate text, home image, and then description, the image for the home page. Go ahead and set that there. And there we go. And you can also go ahead and check out the sidebar and some other options here from the layout that we already saw. It does actually include them in the pages for you easily, so you can easily get that set up. So now that we've gone ahead and done that, we've pretty much got everything the way you want. Now when you go ahead and publish this, you can change the visibility, so who can actually see this, whether it's password protected, whether it's private. And you can also go ahead and change when this publishes. So you can make it so it publishes immediately, or you can make it so it takes time. In this case here, we're going to publish this immediately. We don't need to have it take any time, it's okay. So now we've got the home page done. So if we go to all pages, for instance, you're going to see there's home page. You can see there's our draft of where we're setting it up here. So we're just going to go ahead and trash the draft. If you've been making changes and you haven't saved it often, or if you publish, you may find it saves it and creates a draft there. So just do keep that in mind if you ever do see that. So we've gone ahead and killed that. We've got our published and home page here. It tells you when it was published, and it tells who it was published to, and if there's been any comments to it yet. So now that we've gone ahead and got that taken care of, we now got a home page set up. So you can do a couple different things from this point. You can start setting up all the additional pages, or you can go ahead and want to take a look at what it looks like to start with. So you can see here now, there's no real home page set up at all whatsoever. There's just the default post page, which is already still there. So what we're going to be doing from this point is we're going to be actually going into the settings, because you remember before, you can actually go into either the theme options, we saw it there before, you can set the custom page, or you can go into settings, you can go into reading here as well. So we're going to be setting this to a static page now. So the home page is here, and then the post page, we're going to actually leave that a little differently. So we can set it to the home for now if you want, or you can leave it just select, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and select, save the changes here. And there we go, we've saved it. So now whenever we go to just the basic home page, we're going to see it comes to our home page instead. So we've got all the different options here. The edit option, you may see this or panic about it. Don't worry, this is actually only here because we're logged in right now. Your users won't actually see this. They will not get this option. So don't worry about it. You can see you can leave a comment here or reply, and you can see it even gives a little spiel about using tags and things like that. So you can go ahead and do that here if they want the reply. But otherwise, you can see here we've kind of now started to see kind of what the site's going to look like. So we've got the section here at the top. We've got a content, so someone can click on this to go to a specific page later. We've got this. We've got the right-hand menu. We've got the top menu. So you can see very easily now it's really starting to come together and actually look like a site. So now we need to start adding in more pages. So we're going to go through the process of just adding in the other pages one after another now before we do anything else. So the second page we're going to be adding in here is the About Us page. Copy the text in there. And then we're going to be calling this one About Us. For the parent option here, you'll see this now. If you want a page to be underneath another page, you can set it as that. We're going to leave it here as just its own page. We don't need it to be parented. We don't need it to be under the menu or anything like that. For the menu order, we're actually going to leave this where it is right now. We're going to be setting up the menu order a little later on, just so it makes it a little easier for you. So we're going to go ahead and click on where it says Publish. And there we go, that one's done as well. And now the default settings will create the actual menu items at the top above by default as you add pages. So you can always go there and check them out if you ever want to. You can always go on the actual one where it says View Page at the top here, or there is always a button that says View Page here. This one appears only whenever you publish a page, so you'll only see this there. Otherwise, this button here for View Page is there at all times. And you can always, of course, go to the menu if you still got it set up to default one. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and add the next one here. We're going to be adding in the products page. All too zealous on the copy there. Copy, paste. And this is products. And then you can go ahead and change these however you want. So you can go ahead and bold that. Bold that one. Bold that one. Bold that one. Bold that as well. So there you can see we can very easily get it to look similar to how we want it. You can increase more spaces, you can change how you want for the layout, you can do a lot of different things with it, but it is easy once you've got the text already done. If you're typing it in on yourself, you're just typing it in basically as you go. No problem doing it that way as well. We're going to go ahead and we're going to set a featured image for this one. And for this one here, we're just going to use this image we already put up here. We'll set this as a featured image. And then we're going to go ahead and publish this. And we're going to be adding the next page. And then we've got this here. And then this services page. And then we just need to basically unlock everything here. And you can see because we cut and copied everything, it just split out a bunch here. So we're going to go ahead and just set this all up. It's supposed to be. Switch this to an unordered list. There you go. So it looks a little fancier. Go. And from this point here is pretty much just a lot of extra getting everything the way you want it to look. And if you're typing this by hand, you're pretty much going as it's going. All right, almost done with this one. Depending on what program you designed it in, like text-wise, you may end up not having to do as much work as we are, because we're just opening a basic program to make sure you could see kind of how you may need to go through and do anything here. And there we go. So we've gone ahead and done all that, so it looks the way we want it to. And then we can set a featured image for this one as well. And we're going to go to upload a file. And let's go ahead and take a whole bunch of images here. Let's go ahead and let's select this one from it. And then we can go ahead and click publish. And there we go. I'm just going to wait for it to finish. And there we go. And then we're going to go down to the next section here, add new page. And then we're going to be doing the FAQ. And there's our frequently asked questions section. And then we're again just going to try and lay this out as best we can so it matches what we had before. Maybe improve a bit on it. There we go. And we're just going to bold the question so they stand out a little more. There we go. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and pick another picture here. You can even go ahead and modify other pages as well. So this one here, go ahead and rename everything. So I'm going to be calling this one, this is for our services page. This is image on services page. And then it'll go ahead and save it here as well. This one we're going to be doing is the FAQ image. FAQ image. So for these here, it's definitely going a little above and beyond. You don't need to name everything, but it does definitely help everything out a little later on when you're going through your pages. So it is very good to do. FAQ image on the FAQ page. So that's featured image, and then we're going to publish this one as well. And there we go. And we're almost done here. The next section is going to be testimonials. Going to be adding the new testimonial. Copy in here. And then we're just going to bold the names, make them stand out a little more. And it is always a good idea to make sure to put a testimonials page because it does help improve that amount of professionality to the site as well as to make you more credible, and people will generally like it a little better. So even if it seems like a silly thing to do, it is always a nice thing to have up there. And that way also clientele that you've had before will generally be a little more happy to see that what they said goes up there as well. I'll go ahead and upload a different image for this one. I'm just going to grab one a little further down. Wait for it to upload there. Yeah, for this one, this will be testimonials, testimonial image. There we go. Now done, and then we just publish that one as well. And now we're just going to get our last one here, the contact us page. Okay. So in here, we're going to be copying the last little section here. Okay. Now for this one here, this is where things are going to start to differ a little bit, because this is where we're going to need to start to put in the extra things. Now the contact us page is the first one where we need to start putting in what we've already done. So we're going to take that contact form content. If you remember, we made a copy of it before. You can go into where we showed you before, go into the contact, and you can see the form information there. You just need to go ahead and put it in there. and that'll actually now show it online. Now if you publish it, for instance, we'll just show you what it looks like. And you can see now everything we've been putting in is above here. So if we go to Contact Us, we can see now the contact form actually is seamlessly integrated into the page. So you don't need to actually enter anything for it. Now what we can do here as well is you can see that we didn't have a featured image before. So if you ever don't set a featured image for whatever reason, you can always go in and set one later on. It's easy enough to do. Just waiting for that to load in here, and there we go. This is the Contact Us image. Set featured image. Okay, and then whenever you want to make a change to an existing page, you just click update, and it says page been updated, you're good to go. So you can easily get that taken care of. Now one other thing we need on a Contact Us form, which is very, very important, which doesn't have here, is Google Maps. Always important to tell people where you are. Now in order to set this up, we need to go to Google for it. So we're going to first of all just go to Google Maps. There are definitely other things you can set up here for it. So you can go ahead and set up like plugins, things that'll do it for you. And the Google Maps here is actually a little different here. They used to have the embed option right away, but now when you go to Google Maps, you actually have to go down to the little information icon and then go to where it says return to classic maps, and then just return to classic maps. And then what you can do is you can type in your address. So in this case, we're just going to be using the Doteasy one. So suite 210-3602, Gilmore Way, Burnaby, BC, and there we go. It's already found it there, so we can go ahead and select the entire option there. And then you can see there's the option to get more if you want here, so you can go specifically however you want. You can go here and find more and different things like that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be clicking on this little chain link here for embedding it, and we're going to be taking this little section here. You can either this short your code, or you can take the iframe. We're going to be grabbing the iframe in this case, and we're going to be making a copy of that. And then now the catch is, because it's actual code it's giving you, you need to go to this little option here at the top. It says text. You need to click on text, and this sets you into, so you're actually working a little more with the source code. So you want to just go underneath what's already in there, and then we're going to be adding the iframe right there. Now that we've got that in there, we can go ahead and click on where it says update. And you can go to where it says visual, and you'll see it's now got something actually there instead. So you can always go ahead and update whenever you're not sure, even if you don't make an update. And now when we go to the Contact Us form, we'll see this instead. The Contact Us form, and there we go. We've now got the map that links us to Google here. So it actually shows on the Google map where it is. So people can even go ahead and view it on Google Maps. They can find out directions and things like that. So it very easily and simply allows them to find out where you are, how to get there, so that they can actually reach you if they ever want to, and they've got the Contact Us form, so that they can go ahead and get in touch with you as well. So this pretty much finalizes what we've done for most of the pages. Pretty much everything what we've done and what we're going to be doing for them has been done. There's a couple other pages you can go ahead and add if you want. We're going to be adding a couple posts as well later, but this is pretty much where you're going to be adding in the rest of your content now. So the only other page we're going to be adding here now is a booking page. Now this one we're not actually going to have any text on it. We're just going to be inserting the calendar here. So it's going to ask you how many visible months you want for it. We're going to actually be setting this to 2. Just because that way you can go ahead and do it. It'll have basically the current month and then the next month, so you can see extended upon it. You can also do 3 months if you want, and you can set it to start basically a month back and a month forward. Depends on how you want to do it. Generally 2 is about where you want it to be. You can tell it where you want it to start. When you just say you start the month, that's fine, basically from the day forward. In the booking form with the calendar or only available calendar, you can choose how you want this to show. Because we're doing the booking page, we're going to the booking form with the calendar. Then you can go to the show additional things here. You can basically specialize how you want it to show here. We're just going to leave it the way it is, so not worry about it. and then we're going to add it in here, and that's actually all we need for this page. And then we're going to be publishing this, and then we're going to set the featured image after this one here. And we're just really setting stock images right now, as you can tell. The reason we're doing stock images is typically this is so you can check everything as you're going along. And because they all have a different image and they're all labeled, you can very easily find out where everything is. Afterwards, we're definitely going to be going through and setting particular images to everything you want. But just for the design process right now, it's generally easier just to throw in an image you've got lying around. So we're going to be going for a booking page. Page for booking. Page for booking. Now we can update that. And there we go. All right, so now that we've got that there, the other page we're going to be setting up here is to go inside with this, and this is availability. And this we're going to select the insert again. This time, instead of the show page, we're going to only available calendar. So what this means is that the first page we set up is for people who want to book different appointments. This one we're setting up a page so that they can actually see what our appointments are and what our bookings are currently set at. So we can go ahead and set that here. And then we're going to set up featured image. And then we're going to be selecting the files. We're just going to be selecting random image here, set logs. And we're going to be calling this just availability image, availability image, availability image for availability. And we're set as the featured image for it. And then we're going to publish this one as well. So if you want to see what the difference between those two is, we're just going to go back to the site. And we can now see here, if we go to availability, we can now see what the ones are here. You don't have the ability to really do anything with it. You can just check to see what's available. If you go to the actual booking page, you can actually go ahead and see, okay, I want to go here, I want to book it, and you'll see they'll get all the options to actually book in the information. And they can also see what's already booked, and they can see those ones they cannot click on whatsoever. They only have the option of clicking on the available gray spaces. Once you've designated the days they cannot go for, are also, as you can see, cannot be clicked on. So this way you can limit and show what you want on here and nothing else. So we've got the two different pages set up. So that's pretty much all the different pages we're going to be setting up. The only other different page you may want to set up is one that's called posts. And this post page is generally just a blank page. So if you want to set up a post page, you can do so. You don't need anything else here whatsoever. On the post page, if you set this up, you can go into the settings and then into reading. And then this is where you can select on here as the post page. So it means that every post that you make throughout the site, if you decide to input posts, goes on this page here. So we're going to set that up here, and there we go. This means that every time we actually add anything to the post section now, it's going to be actually added in there. You'll see that appear on the post page. So now we've got pretty much the majority of our site done. You can see it's added in this menu here. We've got the individual pages so they all show up the way we want. And then you can see some of the content and everything only appears on other pages. So we've got the majority of the content now all filled out. Now it's getting kind of into the nitpickiness. So we're going to be adding a couple posts in here. We're then going to be, after we set up the post, going ahead and changing a bunch of other information. So the post we're going to be adding in here is we're going to be, first of all, deleting the existing post because we don't want it here. Get rid of it. And then the post you can add in here as you see fit. So we're not even really using posts at all for this one. You can set up special formats, like a gallery format. So it knows it's supposed to be in the gallery or something like that. You can set up in a standard format. You can even set it up as just an image. So these are all a bunch of different ones you can do here. In this case, we're just going to put in a couple different types of images here. So we're going to be calling this hardwood. And then we're just going to be inserting the media here. So add media. And then we're going to be selecting the hardwood folder we already chose. So into post. And we're just going to be publishing that as nothing else. We don't need it here. And now you can go through and set up some categories as well. So we can go ahead and set up here, being the category, set up a new category. This one is going to be called just slideshow. And these are ones we're going to be showing in the slideshow later on. It's a good idea to put this here. Want to get it out of uncategorized, and you can set the same image as the featured image. There we go. And then we can update that page. And then because the slideshow defaults to 4, we're just going to create 4 posts just to show you here. And we're going to be calling this one Red Hardwood. We're adding media. There we go. Then we'll be adding this slideshow as well. Set the same picture as the featured image. And then we're going to publish that. Okay. And then we can also change the layout here for it. Edit the existing content. And we're going to be actually getting rid of the caption for this one. Updating it for this here. So there we go. That's fine. Update. And then we're going to add another one. Call this one carpet. And then put in this as well. Edit the caption out of there just like before. And then make sure it's part of the slideshow. Publish it, and we're just going to get the one more done. And then we're going to add new. Going to call this one marble, and then we're going to add the media. There we go. Set it into the post. Caption and the alternative text. Update. Make sure it's a gallery, slideshow, and then set the featured image. And then there we go. Publish that. So now when we go to the post page, it now actually shows only the post here. So you can see the individual posts here. So you could add text if you wanted as well with it, or you can add anything else, up to you. But this is just an example of kind of how it shows. So because they're marked as gallery, you can actually set up like a gallery page, and then it's going to show all the gallery here. You can go ahead and use, if you're using gallery plugin, they're already formatted for that. But that's just an example of how you can set it up, and we want to show you kind of how that looks like. But that's what we're going to be doing. So now we've pretty much set up everything we need to be. Now it's going to be going in and doing some minor fine-tuning details. So because we have covered a lot of content about how to set up the pages, the posts, and how to add in the booking, the plugins and things, you're definitely going to want to take some time to go through and make sure all of this is where you want it to be before moving forward. So we're going to be setting up another pause here for you so that you guys can take time to do everything you need to, and then you can come back when you're ready. Now we're back from the pause here. So hopefully you've got everything you want to with the pages and the posts and everything else set up. So we're going to be showing you how to start linking everything together here and how to fine tune a couple of the other things so the site starts looking the way you actually want it to. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing what's called the permalinks. The permalinks you can find by going under the settings towards permalinks, and you can start changing this to show a certain way. A lot of people like to go with the post name so that whatever your page name is or your post name is, it's going to show it up there for you. So if we go ahead and we select this one and click Save Changes, you can see as you go to the actual content that it's got different names for it. So if we go to here, About Us, it actually says About Us now. Go to Availability, it says Availability. So this way it's a lot more logical in the way the structure is set up. So WordPress itself still stores everything the way it was doing before with the awkward number and letter combinations and everything. But this way, anyone going to your site, makes a lot of sense to them, really nice, clean looking. That's one of the things that's nice and easy to check right away. You can also go into the settings here and you can start modifying a couple other things as well under General. So if you've been designing the site under like the site title or tagline, you can do this as whatever you want. So site title we're going to call here is just DE Hardwood. And tagline we're just outright getting rid of because we don't need one. And then these we're not touching. If you've set this up under like a subdirectory like WP or something else, you can change the way that WordPress actually shows where it's installed from and where it actually shows up online. So you can modify that here if you want. If you were, say, building your site in the background in a WP folder, you can modify it here to get that reflected. You modify anything else you want here, like whether people can register for your site or not, and then what kind of roles they get, time zone, date, time format, all things here, where the week starts on. We're going to start this on a Sunday just so it makes more sense with what our booking calendar we set up was. So you can go to Save Changes to get that done. The other thing you may want to go through and do is the discussion section. You may want to outright just get rid of any kind of basically comments. So if you allow, basically get rid of any kind of ones here, people aren't going to be able to do it. So you can set up the options here so that no one can go ahead and register or make comments except for you. So since we're basically doing this all here without the idea of comments, because we just more of an informational site, we're going to be disabling this here. So we're just going to leave that here. You want to make sure that nobody's allowed to basically make comments. You can go through and put extra restrictions on here, like user must be logged in, even though you don't allow people to register. It's just an additional format so that no one else can get in, even if someone tries to. And then making sure that everything must be approved. Make sure that no one can submit one, even if they try to. Even if it's like a logged in registered user, they still have to get it approved. So we've got all those settings here the way we want. So we're going to click on Save Changes. You can also easily download something like a comment plugin like WP No Comments or something. It just disables it all for you, so you don't need to worry about it. If you don't want comments there, you can go through and modify those however you wish, and they can be effective that way. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to go back to the theme options, which is one of the first things we went through and started setting up. And now we're going to be coming back here again because we started setting up a bunch of other content here. So the front page and the display page, you can go ahead and show a bunch of here. We've, as you noticed, already set the static pages, so you don't need to worry about that. You can set up categories here if you want, but we're not going to worry about that. And then for this one here, you can go through and modify the layout again if you've decided to change it or anything. But the main thing we're coming back here for is the featured content and the featured slider. We're going to start off with the slider because it's very simple and easy to set up with what we've done. So where it says slider options, we're going to go to category slider. And then we're going to go to where it says featured slider options. And we're going to go to where it says slideshow. Go ahead and click on where it's saved here. And then you can now see, if we go back to the main page, and we'll go to the home page, you can now see a slider here. And you can even see it'll go through and rotate on its own. It'll go through all the images. It shows you 4 different images. And there you go. So it'll go through and slide them, and if you actually click on them just kind of like I did there, it'll actually take you to that individual poster page. So you can go ahead and set them up very easily to navigate your site and have it there. You can have it on just as the home page as we've set it to, or you can actually go ahead and set it to go through every page. So as you can see here, we've just enabled it for the home page. You can disable it if you don't want it to be there as well. So there's no problem there. Translation delay, we're actually just going to set this 3, so it's a little there. You can have it fade across. That's just an example of one of the things we want to do now that we've got the rest of it set up there. So then this will go through and take care of itself, and it'll rotate through the content. And then you can see the rest of the stuff is still there where it's supposed to be. And you can see it actually rotates everything, and they are clickable. So you can very easily grab people's attention by showcasing images or content here. If you have various pages or posts that you feel are more important, you may want to put them in a slideshow so that they show up and go through. The other place you can put important content is here in this section, the content filter. So we're going to go through and start modifying that for the featured content. So for this here, what we're going to suggest is that you're going to want to add another tab here. So we're going to add another tab. And this one is for the pages. So when we do the featured settings, we can see it's on the home page of the entire site. We're going to change this here. And then we're going to say, come check out these popular pages. And then we're going to leave that here. Save the options, and then we're going to be changing this up here. So one of the things here it's going to ask you is link URL. So one of the things, and the reason why we grabbed all these pages is we're going to be actually grabbing these page URLs. So you can check between a couple different ones, whichever one. We're going to go to products because we feel this is one of our more important pages. So we want people to get our products. So what you want to grab is you want to grab the permalink section here, where it shows the actual URL, the website address. You want to make a copy of that quickly, and you want to put that in here. So you can choose whatever image there. You could say, check out our products. And then you can set it so whether it opens a brand new window or whether it just takes them away from the current window. We're going to leave it so it opens them to the same window, so that way they don't have too many pop-ups showing up. We're just going to add another random image in here. Select from one of the ones we've already done here. And from media library. And we're just going to select one for the booking page just because we're going to add this one to the booking page anyway. So we're going to insert into post. And there we go, the link URL. We're now going to be going to the booking page instead because this is also an important one. And then we can actually close down that one, close down that one. Just so we don't have too many jumbled windows up here. And we're going to go back here. And then we're going to say book an appointment today. And then we're going to go back to all pages. And then we're just going to make sure to save the changes. It's a good idea to save the changes after you've done any change, even if it's just a minor one. And then we're going to put in contact us page as another one. Actually, we're just going to quickly reorder these little so it makes a little more logical sense. And then this one. And then this one we're actually going to do for our services page. As you can see here, you'll probably be changing your mind constantly as you're going through the site, but you want to try and find something that kind of jumps out or makes the most sense for you, even if it's just something as simple as which one appears first in order. These things can actually be pretty detrimental in some cases, as some people may not decide to go past a certain point. So in this case here, we want to showcase our products and our services first of all, to show everybody kind of what we want to be doing for it, and that'll kind of grab them in. And then we'll also do the booking for the availability, and we're just going to click the services one here, show insert into page, and then we've got our booking here, so we're going to be changing this image to our booking page. And then we've got the contact us page. So that way it very easily follows a natural flow of events. So here's our products, here's our services, here's how you can book an appointment, and here's our contact. So these are the main kind of sections of our site, which is why we're putting them as the featured content, so that people can get there no matter what page they're on. And then we're going to go to the contact us and then insert into the post. Title, us today, consultation. Title, book an appointment today. All right, and then we just save the changes. And then we can see what they look like afterwards. So as we can see here, we now have these sections here. So it says the little titles we gave them, and then you can click on them, and it actually goes to the respective pages here. So it took us to the products page, took us to our services page, and takes us to the book appointment page. So there you go. You can very easily get anyone to navigate. And because we've got them set up on every page, because these are the main features, this tells anyone coming to our site, these are the important things, and also they can get there. Especially the booking appointment and the contact us, especially because after they're checking out products or services, they're going to want to know how to get in touch with you so they can actually get what you're trying to offer them. So this is a very important thing to set up, and that's why we set it up in this fashion. So as you can see here, you will come in and out of the themes and the features, your pages and posts. You may even change things up as you go along. This is pretty normal from this stage because you're more fine-tuning everything to look the way you want on the site. So now that we've got that taken care of, the next thing we're going to be actually addressing is the menus. So if you want, you can go for the menus option here. In our particular theme, you can actually go into the theme and there is the menu options here. And you can click create a custom menu, or you can manage the link location. So typically you can do the menus in a couple different ways. You can have menus showing up at the top, you can have them showing up on the right. You can have a lot of different things showing up depending on how you want the pages to go. So for this one here, we're only going to include certain pages in the top because certain things we feel don't need to be in the top menu. They're more important on a sub menu. We're actually going to be creating a menu going to the right hand side. So I'm going to be calling this menu just main. And then you can do one of two things. You can either go ahead and just select everything and then add them that way and remove them later, or you can select which ones you want in there and which ones you don't. So for this one here, in the case of the main structure of the pages we want to go, we're only going to include main pages that we feel should be there. So we want to have the home page there, we want to have the About Us page there, the products, the services, the FAQ, and we want to have the Contact Us. And those are kind of the main pages that should be up there. The other pages are like the availability, the booking page, the testimonials, and the posts. These are important pages too for site. They certainly are, but they shouldn't be in the top structure menu. They should generally be in a sub menu, or maybe through the contact links or somewhere else, because they're not as important to the site. So we're going to go ahead and add these to the menu. And these ones here, because they're selected as pages here, they automatically know which pages to go to all the time. So you can also select the theme location of which ones they are, whether it's the menu on the top there, whether it's the secondary menu, or how it's setting it up here. So we're going to go ahead and just leave this as it is because it is the main menu. And then we'll go back here and go ahead and see it hasn't touched the menus here because we haven't set a location for it. We just set it as the main menu. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to set this as the right menu. This is actually the one at the head, the top here. So if we refresh it here, we can now see it's crushed it down a bit. So this also looks a little better on the site because now we have just a single line and it's got all the information in here. And it also goes down the page. So it's a lot easier and nicer to work with. It has all the different things we want here. Now we can go, of course, and change the different order for them. So you can go into your pages, for instance. And we can go ahead and change the order. So if we want the home page, we can set this as the first one. So we can leave this, we can see here it's the order of page 0. Then in whatever page you want to follow afterwards. So typically we'll do, if we look through, we can set the About Us as the second page. So we're going to set this to an order of 1. Go back to all the pages and we can just kind of reorder from here. And then we've got the About Us. We're then going to modify products page next. 2. Services will be 3. And then we'll do the Contact Us as 4. And we'll be setting up the availability as number 5. And then we'll do the booking as number 6. FAQ we'll do as number 7. And then last but not least, we've got testimonials still, and we've got the posts. So we're going to go to here, do testimonials as 8. And the post is number 9. So you can definitely set these up in whatever order you want. We're just kind of setting it up in most of relevance to the site. So it'll try and order them based on relevance now instead. which is always a nice thing. You can always go in and modify the menus and how they actually do everything here. So we're just going to go back into the menus. And then you can go into categories. You can link them by categories. You can do them by actual links as well. And you can actually even structure them of how they get structured in there. So we're going to go ahead and select this here. And you can go ahead and, of course, move this around. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set this here. You can even set them as a submenu, so underneath if you want to, although we're not really going to be doing it here because it's not applicable to what we're doing. So products, services, about us, FAQs, and contact us. And by moving them around here, we now see they're saved across the top. All right, now next thing we're going to be modifying is this right-hand menu. Now the right-hand menu starts with a whole bunch of content which you probably don't want right now. That right-hand menu is actually containing what's called the widgets. So we're going to be going into the widget section here. So you can see right now it's showing the main sidebar. It also has a bunch of other areas like footer area, and you can put in more content towards the bottom if you want. But we're going to be leaving the search in there because the search is important. The recent posts, this depends on how applicable it is to your site. Typically, the recent post is a good thing to leave in there. If you're constantly updating posts like, oh, we recently did this job here, you can check on our work, or we now have a giveaway or something like that. Those are important to have in there. Recent comments, really not important. Archives, generally not as important as well, so we're going to be removing those. Categories, equally not that important. And then meta, we don't need as well. So you can add in a bunch of other content like booking calendar. You can add in, if you want the calendar to show there. One of the ones we're going to be adding in here is actually a custom menu, which is actually a fairly nice one to do. So for this one here, you can add in a custom menu. We're just going to be calling this sub menu. I'd be setting it to main right now, just because we haven't created the other menu. But we wanted to show you kind of what it looks like when you modify the content. So now you can see it's gone ahead and changed here. So it's got the search part, it's got the recent post, and then it's got a sub menu as well. So now that we've got that taken care of, we're going to go in and create the second menu so that we combine kind of the two last things we're doing. So we want to create a new menu. We're going to be calling this sub menu. Create the menu here. And for this one here, we're going to be doing a lot more of the other ones that are important, but not necessarily across the top. And generally things that you also don't have in the content section there that don't need to be there. So we're going to be putting in availability booking page, we'll be putting in posts because that's relevant too, contact us as always, testimonials, and we'll put in the FAQ. The rest of them here should really be top level menus and don't really belong in a side menu, so we're not going to be including them here. Some of them do definitely double up, which isn't necessarily a problem. It depends on kind of how you feel the page is relevant and whether it belongs in both of the categories or whether it belongs in only one or the other. So we're going to be covering here with the booking and the availability as the reigning champs. They are the most relevant to us, followed by the contact us. We'll then have testimonials, the FAQ, and last but not least, the posts. So we can go ahead and save that in here. And now, because there's two menus, whenever you want to change a menu, you have to go ahead and select from this menu which one you're doing. Now we've got that one saved in here and told us it's saved. We're going to the submenu, and we're going to select submenu and save that. And now, we can see the submenu shows those ones, whereas the top menu shows those ones. So when people go down your page here, you can see there's two different things. Now one thing we want to change is the order of this, definitely. Because the recent post isn't as important to be there. The search, definitely an important and helpful one. But we're actually going to move that down because we want the submenu to be the most important one. Search will be actually be the third one, just because it makes a little more sense to have it top and bottom, but not in the middle. And then we've got the recent posts there as well. You can, of course, change this around as you want. We're just showing this kind of relevant to what we're doing to the site, but you can certainly change it however you want. There are many other things you can definitely put in here. There are a lot of custom widgets and things you'll get with other things, but we're going to leave that here. With other themes, with other plugins, you may get different options. But now you can see here we've gone ahead and we've got it set up. So we can very easily get to most of the pages. Well, we can get to all the pages at this point, but depending on how you want the page to be accessed, again, you've now got different. So your ones are at top are definitely the important ones. Your ones here as well are the main featured ones that are spread out. They're ones that people are going to be getting to there. Like for instance, booking the appointment or contacting you, very important, as well as seeing what you're getting. You've got the sub menu here so they can check the availability. They can also book, they can contact you. They can see other people as well as facts, the FAQ, so it's very important. They can go ahead and see all this here. It's nice to see what's going on. We can see here from the home page what it's going to look like. So we've got this here, we've got the slider, we've got the main content, we've got the menu that comes down with it, we've got the home page with the content here, we've got the submenu, the recent posts, the search. The leave a comment's only here because we're logged in as a main account, but when you're here and you're not logged in, you're not going to see a comment section at all. It's just going to show the actual pages. So as you can see here, the page is very quickly coming together as a full-on site. So you can very easily navigate around the site. The site makes sense. You've got the site laid out in such a way that logically anyone coming to it can very easily get to the important parts you need them to. So it's a very nice site, very nice laid out, very nice and easy way to get wherever you want. So this is pretty much what we meant by putting everything together so it kind of looks the way you want. So we're going to be kind of giving you another pause here before we do any other changes, because from this point on you've got a lot of freedom to kind of look the way you want. We'll be coming back here with a couple minor changes afterwards, but otherwise we've got the majority of the site set up kind of the way you should have it or way you should want to have it. So we're going to give you that pause right now to continue working on it. We're back from the pause. We're going to be showing you a couple little minor changes we're going to be doing for the video. For this one here, these are more changes you're going to find yourself doing whenever you come to the end towards the website creation, when you've got the menu and everything pretty much set up the way you want it to be. You'll notice when you're checking the site back and forth, going back to it, like we've been doing that, there's a couple other things you may want to change. So first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be going into the settings. And we're actually going to be removing the site title for ours, just because our logo does actually include in the site title. It doesn't really make sense to include it there. So we're going to be removing that. We're going to be clicking on Save Changes. The settings are saved. So now we'll remove that. So now it just has the actual logo there and then the menu, which looks a lot more appropriate to it. So that's what we mean by when you go back and forth between the two, you'll notice there's things you want to change, especially near the end. So the other thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing a bunch of the pictures. We're going to put these to something more applicable, because for these, as we mentioned before, we were picking more placeholder images, and we've gone ahead and we've actually uploaded the image gallery we were planning to use. So we're going to be putting these as a little more applicable ones, but otherwise you're more free to use whatever you want. There's no restrictions on any page, and there's no restriction on any images. You're pretty much doing the same thing we've been doing it for it here. So we're just going to be changing a couple of the ones. We're actually going to start off here in the theme options rather than the pages, and we'll be modifying the featured content. So if we go down here, you're going to see that we picked a whole bunch of ones here before. So we're going to be selecting our products. We're going to go to the media library here, and we're going to be selecting this one. And we're going to be changing the title to Products and alternative text to Spectrum of Products. We'll play on words there. Okay, and then we've got that there. You can say check out our products. Second one here we have is for our services. Service picture was okay. It's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead to this one for the booking page. Go to change the image for this one. Go to the media library again. And we're going to go ahead to this one here. To booking appointment. And then insert it into the posts. And then for contact us for the consultation, we'll be changing that one to actually off the media library. Yep, we're changing this here. And then we call this to contact us, and then to contact us. Alrighty, gone through and done that. I'm going to save the changes. And if we go here, now we can see it's a lot more appropriate looking. We've got individual pictures here for things that make a lot more sense. So as you can see here, it's even got a picture that's out of alignment here a little bit. So you can even go ahead and, if you want, crop them. You can find out what properties are. So it's 253 by 253. That's 253 by 163. So we can go ahead and even crop that image. So if we go back to here, go into the media library, go to this, we can edit it. Yep, to edit the image. And then we can go ahead and set this to something we want. So it was 253 by 163. And it's not going to let us do that, so we're going to need to crop it here. Crop to 253 by 163. It's always best to try and scale the image if you can, because then it's going to look a little more appropriate. But we're going to go ahead and do this here. I'm going to set it to the crop, and then we're going to go ahead and do that here, all image sizes. See if we can change it. To manually do this because it doesn't want to let us do it by aspect and ratio here. 53 by 163. So see here, that's the kind of box that it's going to give us to work with here. So we're just going to set this up here so it looks the same. Go ahead and click. Okay. I'm going to save this. There we go. So now that we've done that, we're going to go back into the themes. And now we're going to go back into the featured content. Now we're going to be selecting this one here. Media library. Show that one. And then we're going to save the changes. So there we go. Now we've got it so it matches going all the way across. This is again what we mean by a little fine tuning at the end of it. So you'll find things that kind of look at a place, or maybe you'll change something and it'll tweak something. So there is always a little bit of changing going back and forth. But now we can see these all have more appropriate pictures. They're all going across here. They look very smooth going through. We can see this one for the post. We don't really need to worry about this because this is more of just showing a bunch of our different contents, which is what you'd want to do for this type of site. So you can see there's different floors. You could add in additional pictures if you wanted, like we could add in a bunch of login pictures, or we can even add in these pictures. But for this case here, we're going to leave that the way it is because it's showcasing what we're actually doing, our floors. So we've got the pictures in here the way we want. So this is pretty much shaping up to be how the site will look like. You can definitely go ahead and customize this a lot more than what it is right now. But this is pretty much where we're going to leave it here for you guys because this shows a very good way of doing it. So now one thing we're going to do is we're going to log this out. And we're going to see we're logged out here. And now that we're logged out, we need to actually go to the site. So you want to make sure to check your site once you've logged out here. Now you're going to see that it's a little different because it doesn't have the top part here. You're going to see that the actual comments here aren't there. So it says you need to log in to leave a comment. So you can't log in without being there. There's no free comments. You can see you've got all the options here of what we're seeing. So this is more what the site is going to look like whenever a visitor comes to you. So if you're ever wondering that, you can log out entirely and you will see exactly what they see. So you can navigate around the site and you can see it's got everything here we've set up and wanted to do here. So everything is exactly the way we want it. Very easy, very nice way to show here everything that's here. You can go to contact us. You can even go into the booking page and you can see people can book and do everything they want to. So as you can see here, very simple, very easy to set up a site. For For those of you who are coming through for WordPress or following along with the video, it can definitely take a lot of time. We did definitely go through and explain a lot more than necessary, but we wanted to make sure there was no confusion anywhere where you were going, and you could get start to finish of creating a site itself. Now, for this here, once you've gone through and made it a couple times, you'll notice it's actually pretty quick. You can make most WordPress sites in about 30 minutes, get everything finished, do a little fine tuning, maybe up to 40 minutes. But I mean, after that, the average person can easily make a site in that time. And when you tweak it yourself a little later on, you'll find that the changes you want to make are very easy because the layout and everything is set up how you want. You can very easily adjust things, set them up the same as what you've already got. So if you have any questions or if you have any comments about how this is set up, or if you run into any problems with it as well, you can always contact support. You can leave comments in, of course, the YouTube channel here as well of the video. You can always contact us on Facebook. You can also contact us on Twitter as well, and just leave any comments or questions you have about this. We'll be more than happy to help you out. If there's any other videos you'd like us to make, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you out. You can always contact our support for help, or again, there is the WordPress.doteasy.com, our support site there, which you can check out. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can find where more videos are coming your way. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook so you can find out more information about this and other things coming your way as well. Thank you for watching our video as always.